Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start this meeting early because we have some people that need to get to other appointments. So at 4:55, I'm calling the May Curriculum Committee meeting to order. Okay. I want to welcome everybody for coming, and we have a full agenda, so we can move as quickly as possible that we get late. I'm going to ask for a motion to move the cheerleading, which is 3C, up to 3A, so that cheerleading can do their presentation first. She has another responsibility she has to get to tonight. So
that motion.
thank you very much, Tori.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Laura. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We have the overnight field trip, DHS cheerleading, NCA camp.
Terry, can we approve the minutes first?
Oh, sorry, yes. I forgot about the minutes. Has everybody received the minutes?
Yes.
Everybody read the minutes?
Yes.
Sean, want to give me a motion? Second, Jessica?
Mary, a second.
Okay. Any changes, questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thanks, Debbie. Okay, now we're on 3. We made the motion, we'll go forward, go ahead.
I'm here, I was here last year, you'll probably see me every year, because, I'm here to take the varsity cheerleading team, again to cheer camp. It is in Pennsylvania, we stay in a cabin all together, bunk beds, I even stay in the cabin in a bunk bed with them. Last year, parents, we were supposed to take a bus, but a school that was with us wasn't taking a bus. It didn't end up going, so to be more cost effective, my parents did drive. Mr. Thrall knew about that. They had all the transportation forms signed, and we carpooled. This year, our plan is to try to do half bus, so they all arrive at the same time. And then parents loved picking them up because they were able to see there's a huge performance at the end with all the teams. So that's, I think, the only change on the, what was sent into you guys on the form that might be a little different. Is that we would take a bus up and have our parents pick up. It is an unbelievable bonding experience. Last year, the team came back a completely different team. They were a completely different cheer team, they were bonded, the spirit in the school was different from what I was told. I'm not in the building, but I got a lot of positive feedback, and I really think it all began because of camp. They have to be together, they have to wake up together, they have to eat together, and it really is a great start to our season. So I'm asking to go to camp for 3 minutes.
Anybody have any questions?
I know last year there was a question about a nurse on staff. They have a trainer on staff, they have a medical nurse on staff. It's all right there. They don't leave, so even if there is something overnight, they call it the hotel of the camp, that they stay in, so we have access to them.
And it's all paid for?
Last year, the girls actually fundraised and did not have to pay for camp. So that is our ultimate goal. If they do, the total amount is $335. That doesn't include transportation. That includes instruction overnight, and it includes all their meals except for breakfast the first morning, and we only get breakfast on the last day. So other than that, it's all meals included. But yes, last year, our SNAP raise paid for 22 cheerleaders, full amount to go to camp.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Anybody have any questions?
I was just curious about the other chaperones, because if I'm reading it right, the parents are not chaperone, it says parent, legal, custodian, participation, none. So who are the other chaperones?
I have an assistant coach that comes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I was, okay,
Yeah,
good.
so no, there is another adult with me that comes, absolutely no parents. Yeah.
It's a full day.
Oh, yeah. We literally start The girls wake up, it depends if they want to shower in the morning, some shower at night. And they start at 7 o'clock waking up, and we are at breakfast, and they go, and lights are out at 10:30, 11 o'clock. Yeah. And so they come home, and then they sleep for 24 hours.
It's good. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve this trip? Laurel?
I'll second that.
Andres seconds it. Okay. Any questions?
If anyone does come with questions, you can just send me an email about camp.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I'm gonna take a roll call vote for this. Sean?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Tori?
Yes.
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 Andres?
Yes.
Andres is yes. Anybody else is on the committee in the back? Okay, that's
I'm used to
unanimous to approve the, do we have back the caterer? Okay. All right, then we're gonna send this with a favorable recommendation up to the full board.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you
Yeah.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know.
Yeah, we want to go to Victoria.
Okay. We're gonna then move to the overnight field trip for BHS Student Government and Leadership Council, Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida, on February 10th to the 14th. And we have a slide presentation.
So, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Garrett Cavino. Adrian Lopez is our secretary for the student government. You're not joking. Let's be honest. If you don't mind clicking on our presentation. Yep, thank you. So we'll have two things. I'll have a handout for you. This is actually more of our itinerary for what we'd be doing kind of day to day. This is more of our presentation insofar as our proposal. Thank you. Yep. We'll go that way. We'll go that way. Okay. This is one of the originals.
Oh, okay.
No worries. Nope. Oh.
We're on keyboard.
No
Many
worries.
computers.
Ooh, I have two. Oh. Okay, search.
We're closer.
Sorry about that.
That's all
I didn't
right.
see that link. It wasn't. Deb, do you know where it is?
I believe it's on the agenda.
Yeah, but that's the old agenda.
It should still be on there too. Nope, never mind.
Did you go to the, I was on the drive, on the regular drive, I put a link right on the agenda on the drive
Which, thank you.
to the presentation.
Which is what?
See, it's right down there, see revised, going down at the bottom.
Here?
Brooklyn, don't keep going down, down on the list. Right above Jim Miller's head. No,
That's fine. That's
You
fine.
got it.
No
You
worries.
got it.
This is
Is
it.
it works?
reflecting off the back of
Do
our
you understand? I came down here an hour before to have everything ready. Very disappointing to me. I did not have this one ready to go.
All right, so thank you again. I've been the student government advisor for several years. We actually just learned about this a couple months ago through a friend of ours at the Naugatuck High School, where he has actually taken his student government down to work with these programs while we attended the Connecticut State Association of Student Councils convention. So this was something interesting that Disney promotes and presents what they call an Imagination Campus. So it is it's essentially a full integrated classroom, but it's in the parks. So we're not going to be sitting in a classroom. We are going to be shadowing, or we are looking to shadow Disney Imagineers. We are looking to be shadowing Disney workers in the parks as they're going and doing two different programs. Again, so the leadership program and the teamwork training. The schedule itself, again, you can see the breakdown of day we leave and so on. The program itself would be in one of the parks. we won't know which one of the parks we are in until we actually schedule these. So the leadership program, for example, if it's at Magic Kingdom, we'd be there 8 a.m., we'd probably be there for a couple hours. 10 a.m. the program would start. It runs about 4 to 5 hours for the day. We'd be traveling with them. Again, seeing behind the scenes a lot of the cases. And for the most part, with the teamwork, again, working together, problem solving. A lot of this stuff, if you don't mind going to the next slide. Again, you can see some of the core Disney principles, right, as far as the hands-on immersive learning experience, okay, personal leadership development, collaboration, utilizing Disney's 5 keys to excellence. Again, all of this stuff is designed for student leaders. They actually use this program not only for students, they use it for college students. These are people that actually train, all of the TSA agents and all of the people that work at Orlando International Airport go to this program for customer service. Okay, so I mean, this is a world-renowned program. If you go to the next slide, please, and thank you very much. Again, I'm not going to read the slides to you, please. Right? Won't do it in my classroom, won't do it here. So again, identify their own leadership skills, collaboration, diversity and inclusion within the program itself, not only with our students, right? We want to build this program, we want to bring our student leaders, and we want to foster this idea of both teamwork and leadership. The Leadership Council, which we just instituted about 1.5 years ago, brings together the students, or at least the officers of all of the clubs at Bunnell, all of the clubs and activities, class officers, student government, FBLA, DECA, you name it, Men of Color, Living in Color, and so on, SOUL, brings all of those people together, all of those students together, so we can work collaboratively instead of, right, trying to compete with one another, right? So as Dr. Graff and I have spoken, we don't want to have 4 different Valentine's, right, fundraisers going on all at once, right? So in this case, we get to collaborate, we get to work together. It's, hey, we're going to do this together. Tomorrow is our, Carnival of Inclusion, right? So we have all of the clubs working together, and this is just going to help us do that. So we are looking to take roughly 16 to 20 students with us. We are looking for a mix of grade levels, student leaders that will have multiple impacts, student leaders, for example, like Joey, who's part of multiple clubs, and officers in multiple clubs, right, so that they can have an impact on multiple levels. Joey's a senior, so unfortunately, sorry, Joe, you won't get to participate in this one.
Okay.
He'll be at Princeton next year.
Right? All right, waving to us as we go fly over, hopefully. All right? But again, as you can see, a lot of stuff that we're going to look forward to. If you don't mind moving to the next slide, right? Joe, if you don't mind taking a look at this one. So all of these things can be tied directly into the Portrait of a Graduate that Stratford has built in Stratford Public Schools. So when we talk about, right, Disney's leadership and teamwork modules, immerse students, but we have a Stratford tie-in, Joey?
Yep. So this experience strengthens students' ability to contribute meaningfully to group efforts, respect different perspectives, and understand the value of diverse strengths, just as Stratford encourages through the collaborator competency.
So in this case, again, we're looking to give these students, in some cases, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to learn from not only professionals in their field, but leaders in their field, all right? And again, not only be able to, absolutely be able to use this in their mastery-based learning credits, okay? Next one, please. All right, Adrian, you mind doing that one? Yep.
All right. Participating in these programs nurtures the development of compassion and civic mindedness, echoing Stratford's vision of graduates who are respectful, inclusive, and active in their communities.
The tie-in. Yep.
Students practice articulating their ideas and listening actively, skills highlighted in Stratford's expectation that graduates become confident, respectful, and purpose-driven communicators.
So they will be given case studies in certain cases. So part of this, especially for the teamwork, will be in a classroom or off-site or behind the scenes, where they will have case studies or problem-solving ideas where they're going to be forced to, hey, you're going to have to work together, you're going to have to collaborate, how are you going to do this, how are you going to include all of these things, and how are you going to become a better communicator while doing this, and how are you going to communicate your ideas as well. Next one, please.
This cultivates the mindset of a lifelong learner, someone who seeks growth, embraces challenges, and adapts to new situations, just as Stratford envisions. Students hone their ability to analyze problems, consider alternatives, and implement effective solutions, developing the resilience and creativity Stratford hopes to instill in all graduates.
What we're really looking forward to, right, with collaborator, communicator, and this lifelong learner, it seems like every school year we start off very gung-ho. Students are really into everything. They want to attend. They want to be part of everything. Our homecoming dance was super well attended, right? And all of a sudden, as the year goes on, things kind of slow down, die down, right? The spirit isn't as big, bless you, as we want it to be. That's what we're hoping to kind of at least start to solve, not only with bringing these leaders together, but how do we do it as a community? How do we do it together? How do we bring the school together to keep that, if nothing else, building as we go and end the year on a high? Thank you. So we have building strong leaders, council, etc., right? Case studies we talked about, participating in Disney's Imaginating Campus, right? Have reported, because other schools have already done this, increased student engagement, improved collaboration in stronger school communities. Okay, real life collaboration with peers, practicing the principles of teamwork and collaboration, and then problem solving. This opportunity aligns with all of these, right? Portraits of a graduate. If you choose to, these are the actually these are connected. Disney has done their homework as well, as you can imagine. They have tied them in directly to the Common Core state standards. All right, so if you happen to click on one of them, doesn't matter, you can click on either image. And they have it broken down piece by piece.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Disney knows their stuff, right? They know who they're talking to. They know who, right? They know their audience. Okay, so again, reading, writing, presentations, and so on, speaking and listening, excuse me, right? Language. They have it broken down by every category you can imagine for the high school. Same thing with the teamwork program. This is the leadership program. So again, if you wanted to break those down, right? I mean, essentially everything is there. Okay, so not only is it tied to Stratford's Portrait of Graduate, right? I mean, they literally tie it to the Common Core standards. Right, next slide, please. All right. So basic ideas, this is what we're expecting, and this is what, again, as we've talked to our friends in Naugatuck, this is what they've done, at least in the past, and what they have talked about it costing. We're expecting between 16 to 20 students. We will have an application process depending upon how many students are looking to come or looking to join us. And again, we'll take about a maximum of 20, and hopefully those students will have, we would look to have those students have a maximum impact on the school community. 2 to 4 chaperones. Chaperones cost should be covered by the cost of everything that is raised and estimated cost per student. And again, looking for fundraising, we are looking to hopefully do exactly what cheerleading is doing and raise as much money as we can to spend as little money as we can. We also have, if you got to take a look in here, there are some tips, money-saving tips and ideas that we have. Buying discount Disney gift cards and so on. Each student will get a gift card so they can, again, use that at their leisure. Again, application process, planning and coordination. All right. And this is it.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions? I'm impressed by Disney doing this.
Right?
Yes. I don't think I've heard of it before, but it's very comprehensive, and I think the students would benefit from something like this.
We hope so.
Yeah.
We're not looking to go every year. But if nothing else, if this is, yeah, I wouldn't mind, right? Oh no. But in all honesty, trying to get a good basis for students that we have now, again, freshmen through seniors coming up into next year, and then if nothing else, maybe every 2 years or 3 years, so that we can, again, wave through as many students as we can.
Can I just chime in?
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Covino, and students. I just want to just frame this around kind of our vision for student government as well. This is broader than student government. Ultimately, our vision for student government is to have the body govern within the building and work alongside the leaders and the adults in the building to inform policy and practice in our high school. This year, we've truly taken the next step, I think, in that direction by fleshing out our Student Leadership Council, which meets regularly, and it really is.
It's getting better.
It is.
It's
It's
getting
better and better every month. Every time I can join a meeting, I run to it because it's just wonderful being amongst all of these, brilliant minds. And I do think that this is the next step in that direction. So we've got this leadership council underway. They're meeting regularly. They're running their organizing their first event tomorrow in conjunction with Unified Sports in our Carnival of Inclusion. And so I see this training as being the next step in elevating them so that they can be a governing body within our school.
And this is for freshmen to senior?
We would hope to have
Yes,
freshmen.
our freshman leaders
Yeah.
have actually been
current
very,
freshmen
very
are
well
wonderful.
attended and represented in
Yeah.
our leadership council this
You want the
year.
continuity to go
Absolutely,
forward.
yes. And that's that waving forward, yes. So
Right.
if we can get a couple freshmen in for this program, that would be wonderful, so they could have 3-4 years of impact on our
Yeah.
school.
Okay.
And at Flood, we're working with Bunnell to transition our 8th graders who will be the freshmen. We're doing a lot of, we're trying to collaborate to make some bridging so that when they get there, they don't have to wonder what clubs can I join. They already know what's on their list. When I get to Bunnell, I want to be on FBLA. I want to be in Men of Color. We've been doing a lot more with Bunnell at Flood, so that when the 8th graders get there, it's not walking around like, what is this? They kind of already have an idea of what to expect when they get there.
And this is also at Worcester. Do they do the same thing?
Making the connections, yeah, I'm sure they do, yeah.
All right. Yes.
Thank you. I'll just speak
Sorry.
for Worcester.
No.
Thank you so much. Yes, we do have, we have had the high schoolers come over. Not necessarily the student leadership, but we do make sure that there is a connection between the 8th grade going into high school.
Okay. And there's a question up.
Yeah, just a quick question. If this trip was approved
Mhm.
and your students returned, how would you develop a rollout plan to be able to implement the training they had? And what kind of difference would that make?
I think our biggest hope is that our student leaders attending this could hopefully train our other leaders and bringing it back to the Leadership Council, bringing it back to those students that didn't get to attend, and essentially have that ripple effect. So one, what programs can we bring back, if there are any? How can we use that to collaborate amongst ourselves? How can we impact school policy with not only students but with adults and administration in the building? But again, starting with the training, starting with that impact, starting in their own clubs, small, and then really just building out from there. Does that help?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think there would need to be follow-up.
Absolutely.
This is a huge trip,
Mhm.
so there would need to be follow-up and communication to let us know what they got out of this trip, how it's gonna be rolled out, and maybe even are you sharing with your high school across town to make sure that they have the opportunity or thoughts to engage in this activity.
That was also a thought, if not this year, hopefully another time that we go down, that we would be able to invite some Stratford student leadership, Stratford High School student leadership to go with us.
And is there going to be a follow-up report after the trip that can be presented back to the curriculum committee?
If I can make a joke, Lou wants to come and present with us. He wants to film.
That's
Like, he can document the entire
policy.
thing.
That's part of the policy.
Yeah, that is part of the policy now, so you actually have to.
Yes, we will absolutely come back, we will have students make a
Right.
presentation
That would
as to
be
what
good.
they learned.
That would be very good. Very good. Any other questions?
I just had a question about the insurance not being purchased.
No, we would absolutely, so we are actually we will be working with a Disney travel agent. So our Naugatuck contact, his wife is actually a Disney travel agent.
Okay.
She will be helping us book the flights, book the tickets, book everything, and through her we would absolutely, and especially being February, we are actually absolutely gonna book travel insurance.
Okay.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
considering weather, considering illness and so on, we are looking to, and that's actually part of the $1,600 to $1,700 cost would be a travel insurance, absolutely.
Anybody else? Thank you very much. That was very informative.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Going forward, I need a motion on the table to approve this program, to send it to the Board of Education with a favorable.
I'll move.
Okay. All right,
For a
Tori
favorable recommendation to the full board.
Andres will do the motion,
And I'll
Tori will
second
do
it.
second.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yep.
very much. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a roll call vote. I'll start with this.
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
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 Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Katie?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, we have complete yeses, so we will send this to the Board of Education with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy it. Appreciate it.
Have fun.
All right.
You want to be the representative. I think
Right,
we
one
have a lot of
chaperone?
volunteers here.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll be the representative of the committee.
That's right.
Sure.
Just to make sure everything's going right.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything runs smoothly.
All
Right.
right,
I mean, the
thank you.
teacups.
Right. It was nice meeting some of you and nice seeing some of you. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it. Yeah, you're good. All right. Thanks, sir. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to B, 3B, overnight field trip for Benell High School. Benell High School is doing a lot of field trips.
To Orlando.
Yes, I know. In January, no less, for the music department. Didn't they do it last year?
No.
No?
We haven't traveled in 3 years.
In 3 years. Wow. Okay, so we have the music students to lead the Disney Imagination Parade at the Magic Kingdom.
So, for anyone who hasn't met me yet, I'm Sean Latham. I've taken over from Jim Miller at Benell High School. I was a Benell Marching Band alumni back in 2015 until 2019 was my last fall with the marching band. I've gone on 2 trips with Benell in the past, and I thought that this next year it would be great to do another trip. I think that Benell has done at least, I'd say 15.
To Florida?
Or overall, how many trips?
To
the band has
Florida,
taken?
I was trying to figure it out earlier today. It's somewhere between 13 and 15, just to Florida. And then California, I think we've done 7 or 8 total.
So we've
over,
done
over the years that I've been there.
We've done many trips to Florida, but this time I wanted to take up this huge challenge of planning this trip with the help of Jim. But we have the opportunity to perform at Disney's Magic Kingdom for the Imagination Parade, and also this Imagination Parade is coinciding with the Imagination. I don't know, is it the Imagination? What was it?
Workshops.
Workshops, yeah. The campus performance. It's on the actual Imagination campus itself, and then we get to go down Main Street in Magic Kingdom. Along with that, we're going to have a separate performance in the new Universal Studios park that just opened, or it actually opened this month. Universal Studios Island of Adventure and Epic, or is Island of Adventure Epic?
Yeah, Epic something. Or
Epic something.
Universe.
Epic Universe.
Epic
Epic
Universe.
yeah.
Epic Universe.
It's that new.
It's that new. So
You know.
Yeah.
it opened up this May, and we have the opportunity to perform at it next January. So for the trip, it's gonna be 4 days. On first day, we get there. We're gonna be doing 3 days in total in Disney, and our 4th day would be the Universal performance, and a day between the 2 parks in Universal. As they're right next door to each other, there's a little center that connects all 3 of the parks together. So these different performances have been great. I think that the students get a huge kick out of performing at these huge venues, along with it's a great recruitment tool for our marching band. Every single time we go to the middle school, whenever we have a trip planned, it's always whatever the 7th graders are at the middle schools, they are open to go on the trip as their 8th graders next year. So we will stretch from all the way from the current 7th graders all the way to the current juniors. So all of them will be able to go. Sorry, Joey. Wish you could tag along.
You're out of luck tonight, pal.
Oh man, 0 for 2 on Florida trips tonight. But we think this is a great opportunity for us, and I also think it's a great recruitment tool for us to get some members in the marching band and to help promote music and have them go from middle school to high school, just having that drive to participate in a performing ensemble throughout their high school journey.
And there's fundraising to pay for the.
Yes, so we do many fundraisers throughout the year. We've done popcorn, we've done we've done our ad book is our biggest. If a full page ad is $150, so, and that 100% goes to the student. So the student does, say, 5, they'll be getting $750 credited right towards the trip. So, it would just go straight towards the trip, and whatever they have left, they can pay for. They even fundraise from other fundraisers that we do.
You still do the point status?
Yes, yes, we do.
Can you put my name on?
Yeah, I'll put your name down. What do you want?
Usually I pay 10, the big ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those band point centers are pretty awesome.
They are, and you won't tell us where you get them.
No, it's a secret. It's a Benel secret.
If we told you, we'd have to kill you.
I know,
Sorry.
I know.
But, yeah, that's,
There's lots of fundraising. As a band parent, there's lots of fundraising. There's also the recycling once a month, and then there's a regular plant sale as well.
Okay.
we do probably 6 to 8 fundraisers throughout the year, along with our 2 act books. So we do one for our indoor drumline and guard competitions, and then we do one for our outdoor competition that we hold at Benel.
Any other questions?
Okay, now I'll ask my question. I had the wrong trip. There are too many trips here tonight. Trip insurance.
Yeah, so the trip insurance is all done through the tour company that we go through.
Okay, just making
So,
sure.
Super Holiday Tours handles all of that. They've done this with us for, I think, would you say, over 25 years earlier
We've been
today?
using Super Holiday Tours since 1996.
So,
And they're terrific.
Yeah.
And what they will do is they will offer it, but at that time of year, I think we're gonna try to work a deal where they include it in the cost. Because at that time of year, you don't wanna mess around with that.
Yeah.
no, we don't know. Weather's unpredictable, as we all know. And so, having that as a backup plan if anything happens, we're all set there.
And how many chaperones do you have?
So normally we have about 10 chaperones that are signed on besides me and any other teachers that would go on the trip.
And Mr. Latham has invited me to go as well, which I'm more than happy to do to help show him the ropes and how it works. And like I said before, we've done that trip at least 13 times. And, going backstage at Disney is a whole different animal than being in the park. So I have no problems going along and helping out where I can.
Do you stay at the Magic Kingdom?
So we're going to be staying, as in we're staying in the park the whole time. We'll be at the Magic Kingdom, and then we'll also be going to.
You mean
other
hotel?
parks. Oh, hotel? Oh, the hotel's at the Marriott.
Okay.
It's at the.
It's I think it's International Drive or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're
Staying in the park is
very expensive.
very, very
Oh
expensive.
my gosh, Disney hotels are outrageous.
Yeah.
I thought maybe Disney would give you a discount.
Well, they do give a discount on tickets.
Okay.
We'll get a group price on tickets and those kinds of things. And the tour company gives us meal cards, correct?
Yes, so you're gonna get 100. You're gonna get 125. Each kid's gonna get a $125 card that can be used at any park at Disney. And then I think there's a $50 one for Universal. Universal only there for one day, so you get $125 for Disney and you get $50 for Universal. So those can be used at any. I think most vendors and all.
Yeah,
the
you could
parks
buy a
use that.
pretzel if you want from the kiosk, or you could go in and have a sit-down meal, whatever you like.
Yep.
Any other questions? Anybody? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And the band has always been a wonderful thing to listen to.
I did just have one question. As far as traveling with the instruments, is that extra for if you check in, right? Does that cost you guys more, or is it just all incorporated into the fundraising?
That will be going towards, so all of our equipment will all go out on a truck that will actually be driven down to Florida.
Okay,
So
got it.
none of it actually gets to go put onto the plane.
Got it.
So all of it is already shipped down into our Ryder truck or into a semi truck that we'll have.
And that's all included in the price. And the students also put their luggage and their uniforms on the truck, so that when we arrive there, everything is waiting for us.
Nice.
Yep.
Smart.
Yep, it's a long
We've even
process.
done that when we go to California. We have the two dads. Dave Tortorino's been with us, 10, 15 years now, and he drives to California.
Yep.
Road trip.
Didn't Frank Fonda do that?
Frank Fonda did it years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's going way back. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yes, it is.
Count me out on that part. I'm not taking charge.
You're not gonna drive?
No, I'm good. I'll pass.
Well, thank you very much. It's something that I think the kids really enjoy doing, you know. And it's great for being on stage professionally almost for them, so. Okay. I'd like to be able to have a motion to send this to the Board of Education and the full board with a favorable recommendation. Thank you, Laurel.
I'll second.
And Jessica seconds it. Are there any questions going forward? All right, we'll take another roll call vote, Tori.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
I'm a yes?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right, again, full yes. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Gotta get our Mickey ears ready.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I will volunteer as a parent.
Oh, you volunteered?
Chaperone,
Great.
Yes.
Perfect. We'll put your name down. You're the first one to sign up for the trip.
Xavier was like, Mom, you want to go?"
Thank you
Prepare for
all.
middle
Thank
school.
you.
Exactly.
Very good. I got 2 names. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I really think that would be a good idea.
Okay, you did.
Because I probably had some of those kids in 6th grade, so I think I'd be a good.
Please feel free to join our table.
Should we take a roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
Laurel would like to.
Laurel chaperone. Laurel wants the chaperone.
We'll
do a roll call.
Are you telling us to?
Yes, boss.
I'm inviting you.
Musical church.
Don't even think about the camera being right on you.
It's still on number 3.
Yeah.
I have a lot of work tonight. We're doing good. Moving fast. All right. 3D, proposal for new course, 7th and 8th grade into literature. Mr. Piazza.
Okay, and I have some company here to help me out. This is just the proposal that, of course, you guys have all read. We've talked about it before in the past. Into Literature has been piloted this year in 7th and 8th grade at both middle schools. Johanna Frazick, Chandra Maxwell, Elizabeth Warren, and Christine Ebner. Of course, they're involved in so many, they've been doing such a great job this year, and I had an outstanding meeting with them that I'll try to give you the highlights of. They might join us. They do some of the after-school clubs as well, which don't stop until 6.
Yes.
So I don't think they wanted to be here to talk about the program. But I'll give you just the basics. You know, I talked to them about what's going well, and some of the highlights they talked about were the strong standards alignment in terms of this program's tied to the Common Core standards. They loved the comprehensive and structured approach. You know, complete scope and sequence, day-to-day lessons, building on each other as they move forward. They highly stressed the student engagement. They said the students have responded positively to the diverse, relevant texts that reflect their own experiences. They talked at length about how the kids reacted to seeing themselves in the characters in the books, which is unlike the past. So they've had great buy-in and great engagement. They have observed increased reading stamina, stronger annotation habits, and better comprehension, thanks to the various, you know, there's a workbook component as well as an ed platform online that mirror each other. They loved they felt that the technology integration was very effective. Like I said, this ed platform mirrors the workbooks and the work that they're doing in the classroom, so they're able to go back and forth with ease. They praised a component of it, which is called Writable, which they actually demonstrated for me while I was there. They're able to go in, generate a passage for the kids to read. They could generate it at multiple levels, depending on the kids' levels in front of them, develop a writing prompt, and then the kids submit, via the platform, and they receive immediate AI responses, feedback in terms of grammar and tone and whatever aspects the teacher sort of wants to look at. The teachers do also, of course, look at it, but it gives the kids immediate feedback, which they really liked. And I touched on the piece. They were praising its accessibility and ability to differentiate because of the AI component. Trying to look at what else they said. We talked a little bit about what it would take to implement it, and we have a nice plan in terms of, because they've been through it once, they kind of saw what worked and what didn't work. They tried different things with it that they noted right away, wasn't the way to go, so they can avoid those problems moving forward. These four have agreed, when they agreed to be part of the pilot, to be leaders in the implementation efforts. We've already talked about, if things move forward with it, that they'll work over the summer. They had already started doing some things where they're going to now take different aspects of the program and kind of rewrite things and put all the links within a document to make it even easier. That was one of the complaints, was just that there were some things that were kind of all over the place. You had to grab one thing from here, one thing from here, one thing from there. They were already started working on creating documents for the teachers who are going to be implementing it, so they'll have everything in one spot. So we complete that work over the summer and be ready to roll with that in August. So I don't know if anybody from the middle schools, or we have the two humanities coordinators here as well, wanted to add to it, but I was very pleased. I've been checking in all year, but to have this sit down with them and really look at it, and to hear their feedback was phenomenal. To hear how positive it was received. Like you said, you want it to be well received by the staff, but to hear the reaction from the students was incredibly positive. So that was great. I didn't know if there was anything else.
Do these testimonials from the group, the test group, ever go out on like the parent portal to say that, I really like this. This is something that I think is a positive, that maybe the parents, when they see that, just like Johnny B or Susie M or whatever, has giving their own personal thoughts on this out there, so that other parents can see it, so that going forward, when their child's going to the next grade level, that they'd be like, okay, this is not something that leadership and administration is just putting out there and we're all saying it's a great thing and it's wonderful, but you've actually got the voice of the students saying, this is really working, this is something we like, that may be something like that, because you're saying all these things about the students saying.
And actually the teachers wanted to bring students with them too, and it just unfortunately didn't work out, because I realized that's a much more powerful testimonial than just hearing it from me.
It is, and it might be something you want to put out so that others who, read, who go on there and read, I think it would give the Board of Education and the school system, parents would be like more interested and maybe more involved, because they see this, that it is working. Because we get these new programs and, you hear about it, but you don't actually see it working, so.
Well, I'm just going to interject as a principal of Worcester Middle School. I actually was able to take a look at our preliminary SBAC results. We just went through SBAC a couple weeks ago. And I will say that our 8th grade SBAC results are higher than they were last year. And I think it can be attributed to into literature. Our teacher, the pilot teacher, really took to it. The bulletin boards that we see, our students, the responses to the readings are in depth. They come from real world experiences. Our children are building stamina and building reading stamina, which is, as a reading professional, before I became an administrator, is what we want to see children doing.
Right.
So I think that in and of itself is one testimonial.
Right.
Without having the children here, but I will tell you, I've been in the classrooms. Our kids want to read. So I think this is
good. It's a good thing. Whether it's a book or it's on a computer. I'm old school, I like the book. I don't have it in my hand.
And we could talk about how we're going to communicate that and creating a hub where parents can go to if they want more information about the program. And obviously, with the rollout of any new program, we periodically get people back here to this committee, to report back on how things are going as we evaluate.
Yeah. I mean, it's great for the committee to hear it, and I think it's improving from where we were, which is a testament to the program and the teachers and everything, which is what this whole thing was all about. But also getting it out into that community, That's the other thing, because we want the community and the parents of younger to say, okay, the school system's moving in a forward direction, and they're doing the right things, they're making the right decisions. Because I think we need to make sure everybody in the town is positive with us. Because I think you're all doing a great job. I mean, I'm seeing it for the past year and a half, and I'm impressed, because I saw it failing. And you guys have recovered it immensely quickly. So I really would like to get more out there, so that, I preach it at some of the meetings that I go to, and with some of the business people that I'm familiar with. So I really would like to see a little more going forward, so that, because I think you're doing a great job, and I continue, please.
No, and again, and kudos to the teachers who piloted it, and to the, whoever was part of this committee that sort of brought this in and agreed to let us pilot it. And it's been, like I said, it's been really successful, it seems like. So to build on that momentum, what an improvement here, and then by the board will give us is that momentum into the summer to see what work we can get done to make it even easier for a rollout. And the other teachers are well aware of it, even though they're not the primary pilot teachers. They've been picking and choosing, different pieces of it, so they're excited to have access to the full.
Good. So this is a new course for the incoming 7th and 8th graders? Or already, I know you did a pilot for 7th and 8th grade.
For 7th and 8th grade.
So
And now it'll be throughout all the 7th and 8th grade teachers of both in those schools. Right?
All right.
They'll be used to it because we use it in 6th grade.
6th grade, yeah, until literature,
Correct.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's already been approved for the 6th grade, so there should be, for the it should be a nice transition for the kids.
So we're approving this to be in their curriculum.
Tonight.
This is
this
curriculum moving forward.
To be the program that we
program.
use to write the curriculum.
Right, starting in September.
So that kind of
Yes.
leads me to my question. When the teachers work this summer, is the goal to write formal curriculum for all the teachers using the program?
Well, I think similar to what's going on with Interreading.
Yes, K-6 this summer is going to be.
K-6 will write the formal curriculum? Yes. And then the following year?
Right, so after all the teachers have a full year with the program, they'll be, I think we'll make some strides this summer with the pilot
Right,
teachers.
they'll
But
tweak
then
with
looking
what?
at it a year from now would be even stronger.
Just a question, I know we're focusing on, we said talk about SBAC scores, but I know HMH does align tremendously with NWEA. Have we looked at NWEA data compared to the classrooms that are not piloting HMH compared to those who are using HMH to see if there's a significant increase, if there's just as a comparison to either or?
Yeah, I think we definitely will. I know,
Yeah.
When's the last?
We're
Did
just
they-
doing it right now.
Yeah. Okay, so they're just so we're on the opposite schedule. All right, that's why I was
But
just
it's
curious.
also, Jess, it's also not aligned with NWA. As a matter of fact, they just sat with us to pitch us.
Oh, so their thing.
something
Well, I know
to-
because
they purchased it.
So correct me if I'm wrong, I know you can do, I think with NWA and there was something that you can obviously connect the two, so whatever the scores were, that you were able to connect it to NWA, that's why I wasn't.
They're working on aligning it with the curriculum, but right now HMH is not.
So it's
Well,
not.
I mean NWEA.
But wasn't there something that they said, Jess said, that it was supposed to, their NWA scores were supposed to go into something
It
with
helps with Waggle. to place
With
the
Waggle,
students in
that's what it is.
Waggle.
Okay.
Okay.
Currently, they are working on it. So
Okay,
in
that's what I was,
a
I mean,
couple
I'm
years,
math, so I'm just
they
trying
might
to do
have-
that. Well, listen, I'm just trying to figure it out, but okay, it was Waggle, got it, all right, that makes sense, okay.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When you were here presenting earlier this year about this, I think the teachers that were here were saying that there were too many modules, it was way too much that they could, and that there was some talk about picking and choosing. But how will you create consistency across the grades so that across schools and across grades and teachers and teams that kids are getting consistent coherence and instruction?
So we started the process of having teachers talk. This year was a pilot year, so we did have a little bit of, some teachers only getting through 3s, some teachers who consistently got through 4. But right now there's discussions underway on which units they want to move forward with for next year, and then actually going in and selecting the stories. We did talk a little bit about, you know, the need for some flexibility and where that would come in, so I think those are decisions that, you know, Melissa, Phil and I will sit down and have before, you know, we roll anything out to the teachers, but we are having those conversations.
And then what supports are in place just to support teachers with new, I think, the PD and.
This is, so HMH has actually been really good. I think our experience has been very positive. The teachers, I just want to kind of add on to that too, and segue to that, but the teachers have been very collaborative in this whole process, which was nice, which was just nice to see as a person new to the district, and it wasn't, you know, our teachers in each building have been very collaborative, but I feel like across town, we've also been making big decisions together, which is an important part of the process. But HMH has been great, and pretty much, I mean, all of their department time, collab time, this is spent digging into their units, digging into the next unit, making decisions. So I mean, Liz and I think, have been really purposeful in making sure they have the time and space that they need to really figure this out. And I feel like, having done that, they have felt autonomous in their decision making, but confident in their decision making. So as far as support, I think the most important thing we provided was time and space, and a lot of access to HMH. I got a question this morning, can I get the grammar workbook? Amelia, I need the grammar workbook, here it is. And they're very responsive, and I think overall for us, a positive experience. Liz, would you add anything to that?
Only that we did have 2 full-day PDs, so on PLC days where they had the afternoon and the morning, where Waggle and Writable were introduced, and they were able to tinker in the program a little bit. They had a really great planning session in the afternoon, one of those PLCs that were cross-school, where they were able to go into the platform and some of the new components of the platform, because there's so many things for them to look at, and you know, it was just really interesting to be sitting in those full day PDs and hearing like the oh wow moments of like they didn't know that, you know, they can do that with the level text, but also level questions for the passage and that kind of stuff. So there was a lot to explore this year, and those PDs really were super helpful for them.
And it would continue, the PD, like if approved, we would work with them and negotiate a certain amount of PD. But I also think, if I can add to Jessica's point, if you want to learn anything from the K-6, one of the things I wish we did with our soft launch teachers, which are your 4 teachers, is creating something so that come September or August, it is consistent with which modules and, you know, a little bit of a scope and sequence to streamline a little bit, because what we're finding in the younger grades was everyone has a different opinion of which modules should take a little bit longer versus which ones to skip. So I think to her point, it might be a good idea to use your experienced teachers to create a guide. It can always be adjusted after everybody's done.
The grammar workbook, I don't know anything about a grammar workbook.
I knew you'd pick up on that.
So we're at the point now in our process where we're looking more closely at language standards and really trying to figure out what the grammar trajectory looks like.
Right.
Which is, to me, like that we're at that point is a really good sign that we're gonna figure out how to fold that in. So there are
But is
extra.
there a grammar workbook?
There are extra grammar resources from HMH that are embedded in
that I know about,
but there is a really nice progression that exists that like now we're gonna start to fold in.
Well, when you said grammar
So
workbook,
we're
I
not
was
missing
like, wait
anything.
a minute, I didn't know about that. Okay.
Good. All right, so we have to get a motion on the table to send this to the full board. I'm assuming
Can I just ask one more question? I'm sorry. When all of this is done, since we in 6th grade use the same program that 7th and 8th grade are using, are we going to be included in what the scope and sequence and all of that for 6th grade also? If these things are being done for 7th and 8th grade, it's 6th, 7th, and 8th, really, in the
I
program.
think it would benefit 7th and 8th to have 6th grade collaborate.
Correct,
To
yes.
see,
Yeah.
you know, so you guys can all be on the same page.
Right, and I think it would benefit
And
us.
say we need you for K to 5 to make sure that we're setting up
Yeah.
our students to be successful when
Right.
they get to 6th.
Right, but I don't want us to be just left out because there's K-5 and then 7th and 8th. I don't want us to just be the stepchild again, that's just in the middle.
We won't forget.
But, thank you.
She'll remind you, I'm
I
sure.
will, yes.
I will.
I'll send you a daily email.
All right, I need a motion on the table to approve.
Motion to approve.
Katie? Kiana, sorry. Seconds. I'm gonna have to take a roll call vote. Andres?
Yes.
I'm gonna say yes.
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 Tori?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, everybody's in agreement. Any discussion, any further discussion or questions before? Then we're gonna send it to the full board with a favorable approval.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now we're still on 3, going to E. This is a proposal for a new course for digital literacy. Michelle?
Hi. For those of you who don't know me, I am Michelle Eckler. I'm the Director of Instructional Technology. I just came into the district in January, and this proposal is a small portion of a kind of larger picture of moving our children in Stratford forward in understanding what it means to truly be a citizen within this digital world that we live in, because pretty much our whole worlds are digital. So our kiddos need to be aware of what's going on and be aware of all of the repercussions of that. So this is a proposal for a full K-12 implementation, starting with next school year. I know it sounds drastic, but it's really not. I'll explain. So the purpose of this is to give them those essential digital literacy skills as well as AI literacy skills, because AI is such a big component of our world right now, and it just keeps growing and growing and becomes more and more a part of what we do every single day. The idea of this course is that it addresses both student safety and future readiness when it comes to digital literacy. It is no cost to our district. The state of Connecticut has approved Common Sense Education, which is a free resource. It is a complete curriculum already prepackaged and ready to go for us. And then also Day of AI, which is a partner for Common Sense. And they are also a free and research-based program. So these two particular resources would be the foundation for this digital literacy course. So the goal behind this is to reinforce the portrait of a graduate as much as possible. We have to remember that everything that is a part of our portrait of graduate is going to align with getting our students prepared for that future readiness. It does specifically focus on student voice, teamwork, and ethical behavior. Those are some of the biggest components of the curriculum involved. And then it also specifically focuses on some of our strategic areas, especially future readiness and responsible technology use. So why now? There is a significant amount of data out there right now, most of it from Common Sense Media. They are a nonprofit organization that does a lot of research. But in 2017, they said that 47% of students, based upon a survey, can't even identify fake news. 45%, sorry. And that number has grown from some of the other research out there, that it's getting more and more difficult for our students to be able to identify what is fake on the internet and what is real. We did do an AI readiness survey through the AI task force in the district, and the top teacher concern in that survey was student misuse of AI technology. And so that's another reason to make sure that our students are well prepared when it comes to understanding AI and digital literacy. There is an organization, Pew and Brookings, who did another research study, and they do firmly suggest to all public educators that we embed some form of AI education in all grade levels for our students. And then finally, when you look at any of the local and national trends, I mean, just recently we had a TikTok trend where students are doing inappropriate things with their Chromebooks. I mean, these are things that students need to be aware of how to know that these are not things we should be doing. And it's very difficult, I think, sometimes for our students to discern what's right and what's wrong when it comes to the internet. because they are so exposed to it on a regular basis. Now it becomes our responsibility to start helping to teach them what's good use of these different things and what's not good use. So the idea behind the timeline and success measures of this program is that this is a fast turnaround. The goal is to start using it next year because these are prepackaged. They're done and they're small. That's the other piece of this puzzle. This is not something that's done every single day. This is 5 or 6 lessons over the course of an entire school year. And we do have a plan, like kind of a preliminary plan in place to actually implement these in the elementary schools. It would be during library time, at the middle school during advance if possible, and then at the high school during advisory. Because there's no planning involved. There's absolutely no planning involved for a teacher. It's all done. They just have conversations with the students, show them videos, there's handouts involved, students create their own goals. It's a very well-crafted concept from Common Sense, and their purpose behind it is to make it easy to implement.
And we were able to actually watch the videos when we went to the Day of AI, and they are actually grade level appropriate, which was really good to see that the students see students who look like them speaking about this topic about AI. And in addition, we will be starting to roll out Magic School, which is the approved AI platform from the state. So it is vitally important for us to make sure we are teaching these skills to the students.
It's also embedded in the policy that we provide students with training, not just our staff. Like staff isn't obvious, right? We're not going to roll out a new technology program without teaching staff how to use it. But a lot of times we, as just in general in public education, we train teachers and staff. We don't teach kids. We just assume that teachers are going to teach kids how to use these things. We don't always give them the tools to do that. They're left to figure that out on their own. In this case, we're going to be providing the tools to the teachers to be able to teach the students how to use these things appropriately. With the Magic School part also, there is a student side to Magic School, which we will not as a district open up to the students until we are confident that our students have been well trained in understanding what that AI does. The last thing we want to do is to just free for all students in an AI platform and have them not really know what they're doing, not know how to work the prompting in it, not know how to discern whether or not AI hallucinates. It gives you wrong information pretty regularly, so they have to understand how to figure that out. So we would look to, when I say full implementation for the next school year, it's not September. Like we'll probably start sometime in October with the first lesson, and then there, like I said, it's 5 or 6 lessons depending upon the grade level. I think kindergarten is actually only 4, and the kindergarten videos are actually really adorable. And so we would look to implement the first one in October, take some feedback from people, see what's working, what's not working, is there anything missing from these lessons that they need access to, get feedback from the students, and then kind of revise looking at what the next lesson would be for a month or 2 later. And we would also, I think one of the other biggest pieces of this is looking at the behavior trends and seeing what happens in the schools when it comes to especially social media, because that's a big component in the middle school and high school part of the digital literacy curriculum, talking about social media, when is it appropriate to post things, how to know if what you're posting is true or not true. And so I think that some of that behavior data, as some of our research, will allow us to see whether or not our digital literacy is working. And this is like the kind of dipping our toes into it. I think that this is something that we'll have to build as years go on and as new technology becomes available to our students and to our staff to make sure that everybody's getting what they need. And so financial impacts at $0. That's I think one of the best parts. It's free, completely free. The state of Connecticut has adopted the Common Sense digital literacy curriculum as their core recommendation. So we're good there. I will be putting together the scope and sequence for this so that it's ready to go. I don't have a team right now. I'm a team of 1. So I will be putting that together. I'm a team of 1. That's okay. I'm used to that. But I will be putting that together, and then as teachers implement, we'll be getting feedback and making revisions. And like I said, there will be no planning involved. It's not, they don't have to sit down and do anything during a planning period. It's right there, ready to go. You can literally read it 5 minutes before you start with the kiddos, and you just follow along. It does exactly what you need it to do. It's designed that way specifically by Common Sense, because they know we don't have time in regular instruction to add these things in on a regular basis. They recognize that these are always after add-ons, so.
Plug and play.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Are there any checks and balances and accountability in regard to a program like this? I mean, it's all good to teach somebody the behavior that's necessary to use, but not everybody is gonna have the maturity to do that. So if somebody abuses it, what are the accountability? What's the responsibility? I mean,
Like the students, you mean?
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So part of the AI policy in the district does actually align with the code of conduct. So if the students are, say, for example, using AI to cheat, that would then lead them directly back to the district code of conduct. And even if it's beyond cheating, if they're using technology in the wrong ways, all of those things are built into the student code of conduct so that building principals and assistant principals are able to appropriately respond and consistently across the district.
But this curriculum is a step before that, right? This
Yeah.
allows your teachers to have those conversations when that happens, right? You're teaching the curriculum, you don't expect students to be perfect, but you may have just taught that lesson, or they got that lesson 2 weeks before, and it happens in your class. It opens up that conversation for students to be able to talk about the misuse. In addition to this, we are hopeful that if we can get these things in place, next year we want to put a task force in place to talk about academic integrity and try to get a specific policy around academic integrity. Because of where AI is going, it's vital for us to continue to move in that direction. So we did step one, we have the policy. We participated in the Day of AI, and Dr. Eckler went for a bunch of other things as well. And this is that next step. It's adopting that curriculum so the conversations can happen, and yes, things will be aligned to our code of conduct. But we also have a team that's going to continue to review AI. And as it changes, that policy may need to change.
This is only one small piece of the puzzle. There's a parent component to this. There's a community, beyond even just parents within the district, we have a community component. I mean, there's a huge set of things that are going to happen especially next school year regarding digital literacy and artificial intelligence to make sure that we're all on the same page. So this is just one component of getting the students really involved in it.
That was a question I had just about the overall vision of like the role of AI in the district, and is it just you who's on there, or that's?
No, there's an AI
that's
task
coming?
force, yeah.
Okay.
So we had a whole task force this year. It had over 20 members, community members, administrators, teachers, everybody. And part of our policy, we wanted to make sure that that task force stayed living. So we wrote the task force into the policy so that it has to continue to go on. And then we really want to get student voice and parent voice and some parent training. So we're talking about what we can do next year to provide opportunities for parents to learn.
And are teachers having training? Because I feel like it's all growing so fast.
It will, they will, yes.
Yes.
The whole, there's like a whole packaged plan for what it's going to look like next year for teachers, for students, for parents, for the community. Some of it involves Phil in a podcast. So, I mean, there's he's the future podcast voice of Stratford Public Schools.
When we were in the task force, we had 3 groups. We had a part of the task force that did the policy. We had a group of the task force that did the professional development rollout. And the professional development and rollout was for staff, students, and families. And so that will get rolled out next year. And then we had a group that talked specifically about communication, how we're going to communicate each of these pieces as we get them aligned. And it does feel fast, but unfortunately, AI came out fast. And we want to make sure we're prepared to support our staff, our students, and our parents, who sometimes don't know what the kid just found on whatever new AI that just came out. So
I would also add, the day that we were there, it was clear that Stratford was kind of ahead of the
we've gotten a lot of
game with
accolades.
AI.
They've invited Dr. Eckler and Matt to present. We definitely were a step ahead, which is, I love Stratford. You guys are always ready for something.
So you have the infrastructure before you actually roll it out.
Exactly.
Unlike electric cars and nowhere to plug in.
We also have, one of the programs that was made available to teachers this school year was Securely Classroom, which is similar to Go Guardian from the past. So that also allows teachers to really have deep insight into what the students are doing on their computers and allows them to lock them out of certain things as well. So that will support us in our process of making sure that the students are using the technology the way that they're supposed to be using
That was
it.
my other question was, does this program actually have a shutdown button?
Yes.
That it sees that this person is not doing what they're supposed to be doing and then shut them out?
It securely allows the teachers to either only limit, they can limit what website students are on. They can just say, these are the only ones you're allowed to be on during this class. The teachers can shut down if they're doing something they're not supposed to. They can also program it to specifically say, like, if a student clicks on this, then they can't do this. And, I mean, Securely is a wonderful tool that I think we've only scratched the surface of what teachers are able to do and kind of keeping that under control.
You can chat with them like, gotcha.
Yes, you can. You can literally be at your desk and I caught you. You're not supposed to be there.
Parents get a weekly email too.
Yes, yes. Securely is great with the parent communication as well.
And there's no way to go in through a back door to let
Not
them
with
reprogram?
Securely. No, Securely is one of those things where if a teacher locks it down before class starts, there's almost no way. I mean, I would think they would have to be like a hacker programmer to get through it.
But when DOS was out, that's a big thing. And
Yes.
So yeah, and there's ways of going around.
Oh yeah, there's always ways, but Securely's been really positive for us, and we get reports. Matt Rivers, our Director of Operational Technology, is regularly looking at the Securely reports and seeing where students are going, what they're doing. He's able to lock down things at a district level if he sees something is coming up regularly. Like we just locked down certain ad types that were popping up on websites. So some websites became unavailable because certain inappropriate ads were running on those websites. So he was able to lock down anything that had that keyword.
Okay, and the firewalls and everything are out there so that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to technology, it's especially in a school district, it really needs to be strongly secure.
Yes.
Because now we're teaching children first grade how to program. So you want to make sure you're ahead of that.
Yes. And I mean, part of it too with elementary and when it comes to things like programming, we do a lot of that. As time goes on, that'll be more like hands-on. One of my favorite activities with coding is students actually physically make bracelets with beads that teaches them how certain colors and certain combinations equal code. And they do it with like a poem. So with elementary level, as we start to work coding into some of their everyday work, it's less likely to be on the computer. It's more kind of like the beginning foundations of it in more hands-on activities, which is, I think, gets their brains moving more than just sitting in front of a computer with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a couple of questions. I know we're trying to wrap this up, but so I see K through 12. I can imagine what this looks like, middle school, high school level. Being able to identify fake news and false information and all that. What does this look like at kindergarten level, at the first grade level? I'm just having a difficult time understanding, like, what does that look like?
So I've been digging into the elementary the most because my background is actually secondary, so I'm the same way. I can see it there.
Yeah.
In kindergarten, they talk about being nice online. They talk about not talking to strangers. They do have a little bit on AI and getting them to understand that sometimes there are computer things that can figure things out, but that they only can figure them out because humans are helping it. It doesn't actually know anything. So the Common Sense Media program really takes those high-level concepts and puts them into more digestible understandings for little ones. They also have the Common Sense Digital Literacy Squad, which are like little cartoons, and they're in all the videos. All the videos usually involve song. So they're really kind of trying to make it so that it's understandable to them. They don't get into the super high level understandings that you would get into in 11th and 12th grade.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And then you mentioned Magic School, and from a teacher perspective, I get it. But what's the perceived benefits of implementing that officially with students? Like, on the student side of that, what is the...
So the way the student side of Magic School works is it's not like ChatGPT where you just go in and ask it whatever you want. The teachers actually have to create bots, and then the students can interact with those bots. So for example, if you're teaching a lesson on history, and you want them to have a fake conversation with George Washington. You can program that bot so that the students can actually go in, maybe they worked in a small group, pre-wrote a bunch of questions they want to ask this bot, about George Washington, and then the bot will respond to them as if it's George Washington with like George Washington's language and talk about, you know, in the first person of his life and what happened. And so when using it with students, especially at the lower grades level, it's all about the teacher building the bot, and building a bot in Magic School is so easy because you literally just give it a paragraph of what you want it to do, and it creates it, and then you can test it. At the upper grade levels, you start to do more about how to properly prompt AI to get what you want out of it. And so they actually recommend for our high school students to have the teachers build bots on prompting. So the bot will actually ask them like additional questions to get them to really understand what they're asking the bot to do.
Okay. That helps.
Yeah, it's not like ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They're not just going to go in and ask it
I wasn't
anything.
thinking
Yeah.
that. I was thinking more like I see all the tools that are on a Magic School and think like how as a student.
Yes,
Yeah,
no,
as
there
from
there are
student
not that
level.
many for students. For
Okay.
the students is very small, and it's only the ones the teachers activate. The
Gotcha.
students don't have unlimited access. The teacher has to actually say, I'm purposely using this for this reason in my classroom today.
Gotcha.
And then they can turn it off. And they get all of everything the student says, the teacher can see.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they do realize that what they put out there doesn't go away.
Right. That's part of the digital literacy curriculum too. We talk a lot about digital footprint, and that just because it disappears on Snapchat doesn't mean somebody didn't screenshot it somewhere and it's on someone's phone for the rest of their life.
Right.
You know, and they even talk about that with the littles. Just understanding that what you say online is there forever.
Okay, good. I feel better now.
Yeah, that definitely makes me feel.
Stratford Pell actually also comes into the classrooms. I know they just came into the 5th and 6th grade classrooms and talked about like social media
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
how, yeah, so they have like the resource officers from middle schools come in and like talk to our 6th graders, you know, in the 5th graders as well. So talk about social media and the impact of like just putting one thing online, how they can just trace it back years later, especially when applying for colleges and whatnot,
Oh,
or
yeah.
jobs or whatever it
getting a
might be.
job.
So yeah,
Mhm.
so yes, they do have.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is nice, like a community like partnership too.
Yeah.
So
You may or may not know this. I don't know if you have answers, but I understand implementing this. But is there any plan to kind of make a mandate of implementation of these tools into, you know, all classes? Like, is that something that is being considered or talked about or thought about?
We haven't
Like-
talked about it yet.
Like, because if we're saying, okay, Magic School is approved, that's one thing if it's left to like teacher discretion to use it versus say, you know, hey, we have this program, we should be using it in this way and that way.
I think from my perspective, I want it to be more grassroots.
Okay.
So, you know, we have a group of, we've reached out to the schools to request that principals recommend an administrator to serve on a team that's going to be fully trained in the Magic School program. They will then be able to turnkey that information to staff. And then there's a professional learning plan over the course of the entire school year that would talk to them about different elements of AI and then attach to it a Magic School tool that would be useful. So that way teachers can say, you know, not every tool is going to be useful to everyone. For me, thinking back to my years in the classroom, the rubric generator would have been my lifeblood. I would have used that every single day, all the time. I wish that existed when I was in the classroom. But for some teachers, that's not going to be useful. But maybe interpreting an IEP goal, where they can pop a goal in and say, can you give me some strategies to be able to help this student? That may be useful to someone. So we're trying to show them some of the major tools in the program, because there's hundreds of tools for teachers in there, to show them like what those kind of can do. But there's not a mandate.
Yeah, I think, no,
Yeah, I know
and I
there's
think
a-
down the
yeah.
line, even this committee, we'll see as we start revising curriculum, once people become more familiar with the program and know, how to use it, we'll probably see it as part of a lot of the curricular revisions,
Okay.
2 or 3 years down the line.
Yeah, I worry about like, there's so many different AI models coming and going that anything that's like, we're using this and that program and that way of doing it, that model could disappear or get consumed by another and then, you know.
Magic School is one of the bigger ones. They've kind of
Yeah.
stood the test of time. They've been around, I want to say, since 2016 or 2017 is when the AI beginnings were. And they've really grown as a company. School AI was another one to consider, but it's a newer up and coming company. They don't offer as much to teachers.
Yeah.
But Magic School's been around a while, and I will be meeting with some Magic School people this summer, so I will certainly ask them what their future plans are, because I do worry about that as well. I mean, I've gotten myself into programs and then having the company.
With any company.
You ask Atlas, like, what
Yeah.
happens if our, what, do we get our stuff? So,
And
yeah.
this is, I'm sorry.
HMH will buy them at some point.
Yeah, that's all.
One last thing, and this is, I kind of bring this up all the time when it comes to AI, because this is also in the news and also talked about a lot, is that there's, ethical dilemmas in using AI regarding where the information is coming from. And, if this plan, this curriculum is kind of promoting AI, is it also addressing the ethical dilemmas of, if you ask AI to, say, generate art, that it's stealing from artists?
Right.
If you're, and there has to be some, I would say, addressing that you're not actually talking to George Washington, it's drawing from texts or from some sort of log that is getting no credit. And so I feel like, for now, we can pretend like those things that they're pulling from are not going to hold the system accountable. But I think it's inevitable that, those companies, artists, etc., who own that intellectual property are going to say, actually, you're not allowed to just sort of take from us, and I see it as not really a stable foundation as we might think it is right now, especially with, I see a lot of news about companies or corporations, big conglomerates saying, hey, you know what, this company built an AI using an index or a catalog of our intellectual property and didn't pay, that's something really complex to talk about with kindergartners.
No, but that's
at the high school level,
part
it's
of
something.
it is part of the secondary level.
Okay.
They talk about ethics. They talk about bias specifically. Making sure they understand that what's fed into the system is what's going to come out of the system.
Okay.
And so, depending upon the data set, like ChatGPT as a company, OpenAI got into a ton of trouble for the bias in their platform, and they had to do work to be able to fix some of that bias. Have they done a great job of it? Not completely. But they've made strides. And Magic School does actually, as a company, promote making sure that what our students are using is done ethically, is done without bias. That's a huge proponent of their organization in general.
It's just so long
But
as
I
you
also
can
think all your
trace-
concerns of
Are
why
real.
we're bringing the
Yeah,
digital
no,
literacy.
Yeah.
It all checks out.
Committee.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, as long as eventually someone's getting credit for the information. it's
Absolutely.
Awesome.
That's good. Good question. Very good question. And it'll keep changing, like any
Well, that's,
technology.
and that's the good thing about Common Sense as a company. They constantly evolve with the technology. So.
All right, any other questions? Concerns? Okay. Then 3E is a proposal for a new course of digital literacy. I need a motion on the table to send it to the full Board of Education with a favorable recommendation. We'll be taking a roll call vote, so. Do I have a motion?
I'll move that.
Thanks, Tori.
Second.
Thank you, Sean. And starting with Tori?
Yes.
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 Yes. Kate?
Yes.
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 I'll round it off as a yes with trepidation. I'm very big with technology, but
We
I
will
do
make
see
the curriculum
that
available to you to look at as well.
the pitfalls have always been there.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
Since I used to be a programmer, I do know where you can make problems.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what we want to prevent. We want to hopefully prevent that with our students. So.
We could also prevent problems by not moving forward and doing something,
Yeah.
because then our kids would be behind.
Oh, I agree.
Right? So it's a
I've been doing
balance.
technology since 1976, when the servers were bigger than this room. So, and
And I think that's why
We got the
Heather was
30-day
really
free
adamant
trial
about
of
the
the-
task force
and then
continuing,
in
because
Salon
we do need
it would
to
have
be
to
on top
continue
of it
for
for
everybody.
It would
everyone.
have to.
Right.
It It would be a constant, I think that would be, no, the task force just cannot go away.
No, it's part of the policy, we have to.
Yeah.
Yep, we absolutely have to keep it and meet regularly and discuss what's going on in the district.
Right, right, and I mean, not yearly,
No.
quarterly.
And I think honestly, in
We're
year
meeting
one, it's probably gonna be
monthly.
even
We're
longer,
meeting
more than
monthly.
that.
Okay, good, good. Thank you very much, I do
Thank you.
appreciate it. Technology is important. So we're going forward with that. Great, we went past 3. 4 is items for information. This is just no vote on this one. It's kindergarten to 6th grade, HMH. Clayton Mifflin.
So, yeah, I talked about doing a survey with the staff so that we can get their input from kindergarten to 6th grade. The beginning part of the survey on the board, you can see who participated. There was about 71 staff members, so about half, a little bit more than half participated. You can see the breakdown of who taught interreading versus interliterature. If you scroll up, that's perfectly fine. So this one was just talking about their confidence in teaching the program and how they felt about it. So a good number is in the positive, but still we need to focus on some that still need more support, which we do have a 6-year contract with professional development to support us, so that will be in the works. And then the next section just talked about different questions and statements and how they felt about it, like the pacing of the program. Do we feel it provided high quality instruction? Was there differentiation? Were the students engaged? So this kind of shows you some of the positives, is that, you know, the pacing is mediocre, and I think I mentioned before, that's the work that we're going to do this summer with spending time to create a scope and sequence and a curriculum that will help with the pacing of the program. Majority, very high levels in the high quality instruction and differentiation. They felt students were mostly engaged. It's a very engaging program. However, depending, and we have to make sure that teachers are making it engaging. If they're sitting on the floor for 2 hours, stuck on a vocab lesson, that's not going to be engaging. So, but I think the scope and sequence will help with all of that stuff. They also felt that the structured literacy portion of it, which was the phonemic awareness and phonics, was strong, including vocab skills. That's something we lacked in the past, so it's no surprise that they feel that those were the areas that were positive. Mentor text and the Spanish version access was very high and positive. A negative in just this one area was the online platform, not user friendly, and so there was more in the middle range of work. It's very overwhelming, and I think the PD didn't complement it. So middle school is going to benefit from what we went through, K-5 or K-6 rather, and hopefully 7th and 8th they can streamline. And we're working with HMH to have specific people come to us repeatedly, so it's not who shows up. Because like we said in the past, it varied who got solid support versus who didn't.
Is there a reason why it only goes to 5th?
No,
Those
it's
are the
one. Those,
degrees, right?
If you slide to the left, you'll see your rating from 1 to 5. This is K-6. Did the survey.
I see what you're saying.
So the 4 and 5s is what we wanted to see.
Okay.
The 3s we need some work on.
Okay.
We really don't want to see a lot of 1s
Oh,
and
okay.
2s, which if you now scroll to the right, like it's pretty good.
Okay.
Those were the positives from the K-6 responses. Some of the next steps, if you scroll down, what is that section? I think I covered all that.
Yeah.
Well organized. So the bottom portion really focused on next steps and what they would like to see overall. And it was really interesting. They want times with their colleagues. So although some, you can see 23% or 32% want more professional development, it was not the majority. And there's probably the percentage of people who had a positive experience with whoever came in from HMH. So that's something even on our coffee talks, I was hearing a lot of, they want to go back to not all, but some opportunities to get together as a district. So all of 6th grade getting together, all of 3rd grade to share resources to plan. So I think that this showed what I was hearing, you know, from the different schools. And again, the pacing guide, they talk about that. And then the bottom just really, so they still want in-person, I think, but the more important thing that they're looking for is time for planning, working with their colleagues, and, you know, video tutorials would be nice, but it was not the majority of what they're looking for. So overall, it was a really positive survey in general. There were pockets. When you listen to some of the comments, I kind of covered a lot of the comments. It was interesting and funny how there was a good number of comments saying, you know, could we get the modules, they call it units, modules, down to just 4. We can teach them really well, dig deeper into them. We don't need all the modules, it's too much. And then there was almost an identical amount of comments that said, don't skip any modules, we need all those skills. So that was interesting. And then there was a handful that said, could we use it as a tool? So not as the core. But I think what I'm hearing and what the need is curriculum, scope and sequence, and a pacing guide to help them.
Right.
And that will dictate how many modules, because we need to see what's covered in all those modules. We certainly don't want to skip skills that are needed.
Right.
But by having the curriculum that we're going to work on this summer and the pacing guide, it will hopefully alleviate some of that and help guide us to be stronger for next year. Just letting you guys know how it turned out.
Very good. I mean, for what?
First year.
First year, yeah. Not bad.
Did they, for 6th grade, did they say anything about which modules they preferred in regards to all of them?
It didn't break it down by grade level, but I think that's why if we do some of the work, like whether you join, I would imagine you're joining me this summer to do some, not you personally, 6th graders. We very welcome you, but to do some of that work to get the input from the teachers direct, but then kind of collaborating with 7th and 8th to make sure we're aligned to what they're gonna move into next. You guys almost have double the work.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the people that we spoke to, once we got to the 2nd module, it was like night and day.
Right.
Because the first module was kind of bland, and the kids were like, oh. But once we got to the 2nd one, they really enjoyed it. So, you know, to start out with one that bring them in more.
Engage them and,
Will, I think.
So I think with the people who are gonna help create it, they'll give that input.
Yeah.
Because we do want to rep from all the schools, I mean, not schools, all the grade levels, not a couple.
Any other questions? Good news. We're over on 6 now. Oh, 5, old business. We don't have any old business, right, Debbie? Okay, moving on to 6, tabled items, and we don't have any tabled items. So I think this committee's been working real hard, and very good, did not carry too much over.
I will, before we adjourn, the next scheduled meeting is for the same night as graduation, I believe.
Yes, you mentioned that.
So June 10th is not going to be a good night.
We don't have to do.
Just thought
Do you want to take a roll call vote?
You can,
Is there anything that has to be voted on, like, that we would need a special meeting for?
We're moving into July, it would have to be something that's for September.
Right.
Yeah, so if there's anything that somebody's planning, that
If
would
we're
be.
writing K-6 reading curriculum, would that need to be?
Well, it won't be ready
by
till
board?
August anyway.
Well, I would say
We would do
the
it right
August
away.
meeting.
And it would be the August meeting, yeah, yeah.
To get it up and
All
running.
right, so, is there a tentative date to move the June meeting? Because nobody
I
wants to
didn't
be
know if
there.
anything had to be covered. There's no field trip for secondary. I don't know why I thought there was a field trip. If not, then.
No, we got
Got all ours.
We got to push it to today.
Yeah, that was,
Perfect.
that was a lot, that was.
Yeah, thank you for squeezing everyone in, I know some of
Yeah, I mean, we consider not meeting in June unless.
Unless
comes
something
up.
comes up, we'll call a special meeting.
Yes.
All right, so we'll do something like that instead, because if we have to vote on something, we're gonna need a quorum. But let's do it before June 30th, if we're gonna pull a special. All right, we're all in agreement on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm good for that
And
one.
if we, for convenience sake, if we had to meet, we could do it virtually.
Yes, we
If
can
it's
do that
after the
too.
school year is over, you know what I mean, if it's.
Right, right, but I'm thinking vacation.
Yeah.
I think when June 30th comes, everybody wants
Nobody
to
takes
scatter.
vacations.
No. Okay, but yes, let's work with that. And since no tabled items, the last one, who would like to make the motion to adjourn? Jessica? And second?
Thank you.
Everybody in
Thank
agreement?
you.
Yes.